In the finance space, credit cards really have a really bad rep about them. But if you're looking at a credit card in debt in general, it really is just an economic amplifier of whoever is using it. And honestly, the way I look at it for debt, people that have strong investing knowledge tend to be more appropriate for using debt as a tool. Whereas the people that have no investments, no portfolio, no financial literacy, debt is, well, it's a financial death trap. But I'm going to talk about how would a family office use a credit card. Because a margin loan, it can be used to fund lifestyle. But you have to ask the question, if we are using margin for everything, we are putting our portfolio on the line and we want it to be the last resort. If we're getting credit lines from outside our portfolio, this is the wise option. Now, a credit card, you have like a 30 to 45 days float. Whereas you're drawing on margin, you're paying the interest straight away. So let's look at a portfolio of an example family office and how they would use a credit card to fund lifestyle. So this portfolio has got growth, defensive dividend, and most importantly, treasury bills as well. And in this example, they say the family is spending 10k a month. If they were using margin for everything, well, they're paying interest on everything. It may be at a very low cost, but it'd be far more sufficient to keep that margin as like a last line of defense, or to be used as a bridge to pay for, it may be real estate or other investments or other opportunities. And it keeps our loan to value low. If you've ever got an option to use credit from someone else and it's maybe cheaper than the rate of inflation, it's a competitive APR, and it's secured against another asset rather than your own portfolio, that's far more advantageous than just using margin for everything. So look at it here. This is so the family spend 10k a month on a credit card. So the portfolio is 100% invested. You know, everything's circled around not selling the portfolio. That's what it's all based around. Everything we can do to avoid that and keep our assets in the market. So if we have a balance of the portfolio, we're getting some dividends, treasury bill, coupon payments. This can be used to pay off the debt. So as long as the family obviously don't go crazy with the credit card, then, you know, it can be used in a wise way. You are obviously getting cash back. So it's a net gain over a margin loan. And it keeps the margin intact. Again, fully protected from any possible margin calls. That's what it's all about. If there's ever an opportunity, we can avoid using margin where possible. You know, it can be used purely for lifestyle. Usually in the late years of life, someone that's a lot older could 100% just use margin for lifestyle. But if you get this opportunity to take other lines of credit, and it also protects from like a market downturn. So look here, technically there's a net surplus because of the cashback rewards, as long as the credit card's paid off in full. If there was like a shortfall, maybe the family overspent 1 month, it can potentially be redeemed with a margin loan, but it keeps that excess line of credit open. And this is the exact same for family offices and wealthy individuals when they're buying any asset, really. If they're buying like yachts and boats, they're not really drawing that on a Lombard loan. They would rather have that secured against the asset. Technically, things like the cars, the boats, they're really all liabilities. But rather than just using the portfolio to fund all of them, you would much rather the collateral was on whatever it was you were buying, and protecting the family portfolio, the family wealth stays intact. And in this case, the portfolio is growing. I've put 12% on the growth of the NASDAQ, defensive portfolio 8%, and of course treasury bills. And look, the portfolio is still growing. Well, covering the family's lifestyle, and they're not paying any interest. So this is exactly how it can be utilised while keeping that margin intact, especially if the market was to crash. There is margin there if you want to buy more assets at a very good, attractive valuation. So they can absolutely be used, and its only risk is obviously behavioural discipline, overspending, obviously. Yeah. But this doesn't even include the family's primary income. In this case, I've just used the portfolio to fund the full lifestyle, and that's not including for any other income. But it can absolutely be done. I don't think margin should be used in every single case. It should be viewed as protected at all costs. But if there's an event, a lifestyle event comes up, that's what the margin is for. Quick access to cash without selling the assets, keeping the assets unsold in the market, because the future value over the long term, over the next 10-year horizon, is exponential. So everything in the strategies is all about how do we avoid selling at all costs. So keeping the margin, loan to value minimal as possible. A credit card can absolutely be used, and it's an interesting topic because in every finance niche, they view credit cards and debt as the enemy, and it's not always the case. It's only the enemy for the wrong people. It's the financial literacy of the individual that are using it. It can be tempting, obviously. There is studies that say that people spend more when they have a credit card, but with financial discipline and the correct portfolio, you can see in this case, it's cheaper than the margin if it's paid off in full, obviously. And it provides a buffer as well. I would still probably rather, if the market had crashed, you have other lines of credit available to spend. In an ideal world, where you would like maybe another custodian with your treasury bills or T-bill ladder in place to fund lifestyle for like 18 months. If not, you have lines of credit in place until the market recovers. But as you say, it's all about evolving the portfolio around not selling.